Since 1999, Enugu State has been under the control of PDP governors. And the analysis has been that Enugu is PDP and PDP is Enugu State. But there has been some arguments against that argument. Some people want to disrupt that argument. They want to refute that claim that Enugu is staunchly a PDP state coming down from 1999. And there has been defections out of the PDP to opposition parties right from time, especially, of course, from 2003, when you had opposition, I think it was APP at the time, and then people will always defect and sometimes return to the party, while some other people would probably refuse to rejoin the PDP, or they move on to other things other than politics. But presently, there has been some seismic movements within the political space of Enugu State, if you would like to say the political landscape of Enugu State, in terms of who is going where and who is rejoining what. This morning we'll be taking a look at some of those issues arising from Enugu politics, especially party politics. How are the political parties faring? Starting, of course, with the political party in power. Are the people getting their votes worth from the current administration of the People's Democratic Party? And again, what kind of opposition do we have when the person who's supposed to be the figurehead of the opposition has returned home to the PDP? Welcome to Straight Talk here on Affair Radio 99.3 FM. My name is Alex Obodo. This morning I'm joined by the Deputy Chairman of PDP in Enugu State, Barrister Steve Oruruo. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining me on Straight Talk this morning.
A very good morning to you, Alex.
So, we will start by rolling the conversation by saying it's almost 2 years of this administration, and one will naturally say, all right, how well has it been? If you have to give yourself an analysis, somebody will say, okay, it will amount to self-appraisal, but at the end of the day, you will have to do the appraisal first of all, before other people either say, oh no, that's not correct, or say, yes, well, this is right. Let's have your analysis of the almost 2 years of the governor so far.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. Okay, let me also diffuse what could have easily been your fear in terms of, being a judge in one's own case, in terms of being the chief judge in a matter that we're a member or a part of. Of course, we are living in the same country, a country that exudes, the unmistakable trappings of a failing nation. We are about 40% of the citizens, live just under $1 per day. You know what that means? Less than 1,600 or thereabout under 1 day. In a country where about 73% of the population, almost about 130 million people are, being linked to multidimensional poverty. And we could easily say that they're multidimensionally poor. So in a country where about 53% of the, youth are not even employed, in a country where you could hardly go to farms now because of the level of insecurity all over the nation, in a country where, the cost of fuel has gone astronomically high, that people are really suffering, and you can't actually place it in terms of talking about the cost of, food, even in the market. So that's why I say there's a youth in the country today, youths, the food trappings, of a fallen nation. Having said this, we live in the same place and nobody can project any kind of protection or begin to, emphasize so much on the beauty of governance. After all, those in government actually hold those positions in trust for both God and man, and for the electorate that had actually voted for them. So if you don't want to be in government, my projection and my idea is that you should resign. But those who are in government should also mitigate the sufferings of people. It's an opportunity for you to intervene in the lives of people through well-tailored, well-articulated, robust, and good-intended, ideological drifts that will accommodate, the poorer majority. Having said that, it now brings us back to Enugu and why, despite the restraints, we have no choice than to commend the exploits of the leadership, amplified and typified by the governor himself, Governor Peter Ndubuisi Mbah. First of all, let's look at about the typical politician in Nigeria. Because of the yawning disparity, because of the chasm in terms of mistrust, because of the expanding gulf in terms of distrust as well between the governed and the government, between the led and of course the leaders. Having said that, there's a need for one to begin to break that chain. The chasm needs to be narrowed down or completely extinguished. So there's a dimension, there's a sense in which I feel that the populace that had suffered for so long, without having a reprieve, the populace, the electorate that had suffered for so long and had worked in anguish as democracy got eviscerated for too long, there's a sense in which I feel that they have a different perception of politicians. Some of them view politicians as an idle, parasitic, rent-collecting class whose business is to siphon the public wealth and to reduce the lives of individuals, to rubbles. Some also view, the Nigerian politician as, a conflicted individual with split personalities. At one point, he could do what is very exciting in terms of productivity and proficiency. At another turn, he could easily join a band of renegades or join a hegemony whose job is just to exploit and also to embezzle the commonwealth of the people. So, but a certain governor has come in Enugu, writing the credentials of politicians and changing the narratives. And that's exactly why we begin to talk about his exploits. While I concede that if you're in government, I don't need to praise you. We voted you to do the right thing. But having said that, if you have taken it to a very high level, if you have raised the bar in terms of excellent, blistering, exciting, electrifying performances, then we have no choice, to advertise to the world that it has been embellished, it has been executed with candor in terms of, productivity being churned out. So it's on this note, and on this exciting note, that I bring you to the table for you to see the benefits of the smart green schools. In a situation where has become very difficult for the citizens to pay for private schools. And it's become a trend that if your child is not in private school, you feel a bit debased, you feel a bit disoriented in terms of the quality of your own life and what people would say. But in those days, remember the state schools and federal schools. People went to those schools with a level of pride. And if you look at the best candidates we have today, the best individuals and different professionals, they all attended public schools. So why are we where we are today? So he has come now as the governor of the state to narrow that yawning chasm, like I said, and that unnecessary disparity, and the ignominy that people suffer simply because they go to public schools. Today, Enugu is building 260 smart green schools in 260 wards with a very clear vision, with a departure to what it used to be. At a level, with a plan that at the level of infancy, a child will be given the opportunity of experiential learning where he will have the chance of studying, of course, artificial intelligence, visual and augmented realities, mechatronics, and other innovations and, of course, creativity. That's the opportunity that it provides at your doorsteps. If you also look at the smart quality of schools in terms of the beautiful edifices, and you also look at, again, the smartness in terms of the teachings and combine the two. At the age of 3, a child will be exposed to all these learnings till he gets to the level of JS3, meaning that you have 12 good years that you study for free what could have been gotten in the United States or in London or in France or any other place that is part of the Western world can easily be domiciled here. And most interestingly, the child will have a vehicle that conveys the child to school and takes him home. The child will be fed in school. And again, to crown it all, there will be no school fees for these children. And what you're going to get there will be by far better than whatever you are going to get in private schools. So it will be a gradual decimation of the private schools with the attendant humongous, bills. So that's what it presents very clearly. And if you look at what the governor is doing within the education sector, for instance, what is expected, what is required of all states and of all countries by UNESCO is that just between 15 to 20% in terms of budget of a state. But the government has taken Enugu to 33% only gifted to education because of his interest in education. So the government, without that, has an elevated mentality and a plan to reconnect the state and the people of the state, particularly our children, to the new world order. So having said this, go to, for instance, the health sector. He's also constructing, the government is constructing another 260 primary health care. And I was privileged to listen to the leader of World Health Organization, Southeast. And he pulled encomiums, he showered plaudits on the government of Enugu for the how far they've come out, for the journey thus far. Not only about the deficits, like I said, but for the quality of, facilities being, put in there so that it will be very close. The essence of doing all this is to reconnect our people to easy, healthcare services so that we don't have to die unnecessarily. So that has been done. And if you also look at what is building around the Barra Square, we have a 300-bed international hospital with an idea to provide all amenities so that there will be diagnosis and there will be professional treatment. It's bringing intellectual property in a situation where we have exodus of our doctors. They have been encouraged to stay back. And with other people coming, from the Western world to join them, we'll begin to also exchange ideas and expand the horizon in terms of what can be offered to our people. So that people will not die making excuses. That's what leadership is all about. And again, that also brings us to looking at even the ambience of the city. The last time I checked, about 25 years of inglorious wait, we were waiting to have an international conference. I was actually started by Governor Chimaroke Namani, actually. But with all the legal encumbrances, somebody came, a visionary leader came with an idea to dismantle all encumbrances, all impediments, within and around that conference center. That appeared almost an impossibility of some sort. But today, it has been totally dismantled in terms of all. So, what the governor is doing is to, of course, dismantle inequalities, dismantle inequities and disequilibrium, to the extent that all and sundry can be connected to the enjoyment that perhaps should have been limited to those within the government corridors. So having said this, we also have to look at several other things. He has already constructed and commissioned about 103 roads within the state. And I'm very much aware that over 200 roads have been flagged off in terms of what to be delivered. And having said this as well, he has promised to do 10,000 kilometers of roads in all the wards of the state, meaning that before the expiration of this regime, he would have taken road construction to the remotest parts of the state without fear. Even the Soka, Nikeleko Pin Soka Road, that we already have a very good road there. His vision is to dualize it and make it very easy. And he has commissioned, and he has also flagged it up. And I think the processes have already begun. So having said that, but you should also look at personal intervention in the lives of individuals. Because as much as we are providing amenities, those who enjoy the amenities need to be alive to do so. So the civil servants are not left. And those our parents who have worked so hard for this state that need to be protected at their old age, the governor has an eye for that. And what has it done? He has cleared, the allowances and uh, what they should have, I think pension also, I spent over 50 billion naira, to clear that. And there's a standing order now that immediately you are leaving office in terms of retirement, you get your full benefits without any further waste of time. And it's on that note that I also recall that if you look at the city of Enugu and its environment, or his environment, you will see that a certain man called Michael Obara, Dr. Michael Obara, combined with Owele and Nnamdi Azikiwe, in their time, they did so much. I've tried to compile even the companies that they built in their time, from Enugu to Umuahia to Calabar to Port Harcourt to several places, of course, under their watch. They were able to create a kind of, expeditious attempt at reconnecting the eastern part of the country to the international grid, making us the fourth most, the fourth fastest region of the world, or country of the world, if you may, to, in terms of rating. And you can't find where Obara's house is. And there are no too many things that could be attributed or attached to the name of Owele. That's the level of sacrifices. Like I used to say, there are only two kinds of leaders: those who make sacrifices for self, and those who make sacrifices of self in the interest of the larger society, or of the larger society. So having said this, it is very salient that we note that United Palm Products Limited, that the governor has also revamped that company, that industry, just like he has also touched the Niger gas, and also touched M&A Flour Mill, and of course Anamco. And I've not forgotten the Aluminium Company Limited that is in Ibetet, amongst too many others that he's touching. Because there's a sense of nostalgia that actually governs the mentality, the elevated mentality of this regime. In fact, he's in a haste to do all these things with the speed of a gazelle, and to achieve it as early as he could. Not only to entice the people or to justify the votes of the electorate.
That's right.
But to portray the ideological difference, the drift, what leadership should bring. It's not about sharing money, it's not about wastages, it's not about profligacy. He has removed that idea from governance. And moreover, it is very, very important to note that we don't have any sense of clannishness, governing the reasoning of this regime. Meaning that every project that he wants to do anywhere in his own community is being done in other communities. It's unprecedented.
You're welcome back. This is Straight Talk on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. My name is Alex Obodo, and I still have in the studio with me Barrister Steve Oruruo, the Deputy Chairman of the PDP in Enugu State. And let's find out why the governor wants to do a lot of things at the same time. Some people are already saying, why is he taking on too many projects at the same time? Can he pull it off? That's the big question.
Well, of course, it all depends on the choices, the hard choices we make in leadership, and what we have come to fulfill. What has become a puzzle is the source of the money, the source of the funds. How possible is it to generate the kind of funds to also achieve this? But what has it done? It's about shrewd management, frugality that government needs to have. In a situation where government makes it tight for leakages to happen. So with the federal allocation, the very little federal allocation that he gets, with the money generated internally here, cuts off taxation. But what's the philosophy behind the taxation? It is a situation where there is minimal tax with maximum impact, verifiable maximum impact that you can see here and there. Just like I was telling you earlier on, if you look at the transportation sector, for instance, You could see that if you go to the airport, planes are already landing, bearing Enugu's color and Enugu's name, Enugu Air. And if you go to Ogbara Square, for instance, there are also CNG buses parked there. We're expecting about 200 of them, just like the cabs will come. So he is almost just in every sector. So the sectoral depiction and sensational, capturing of the yearnings, the cravings of the masses, So he's in a speed to achieve that. And it is very much possible. The height of a man, of course, is the mind. It all depends on what you can conceive. What you conceive, you can achieve. So while he's trying to, probably when we are seeing and pouring all manner of praises in terms of what he's delivering, may not even have gone just 30% of what he intends to do. Who knows? So let us keep on supporting the government and so praying for him and hoping that he maintains momentum. And that becomes the standard bearer of what leadership should be in Enugu. So that we take it from there and never are we going to drop it in terms of projection and values.
All right, let's zero in on the party proper. In 2023, Barr Chijioke Edeoga left the PDP after participating in the gubernatorial primaries and left for the Labour Party, where he contested against his former party at the time. So now he has returned to the PDP and it has raised a lot of issues. Some people are saying that, that he betrayed those who belong to the opposition. So what is the position of the PDP on this? Some of you say that he has returned home, and while some people are saying, that he never left in the first place.
Well, of course, it would be infantile to imagine that he never left. Somebody who, pulled the weight that he did in terms of the final score, despite the fact that, of course, that is subject to further analysis. Enugu, like you said in the beginning, is PDP, and PDP is Enugu. And under the leadership of the current chairman, Dr. Martin Chukwueze, there's a deliberate attempt, and the PDP is intentional about recovering all lost grounds. And it's an aberration to watch PDP win only a few offices in terms of national offices. And even the position in the House of Assembly, we were seriously challenged. It has never happened. And we don't want to exaggerate what happened. We were taking cognizance of all values and of all interests and of all gaps that should be managed. First of all, how did it just happen? What happened? The truth is that when you talk about Labour Party had no space anywhere, not even in the country. It wasn't a force to be reckoned with. But a lot of forces, a lot of factors aggravated into a common cause that meant a Labour Party in terms of substance, in terms of value, in terms of results they were able to churn out. First of all, there was this general discontent by Nigerian people. There was this general expression of distrust for a dysfunctional leadership that held sway during that time within the national level. To the extent that the people felt, of course, there should be a sharp departure from what they have. And a certain person was knocking on the door, providing an easement for the people, providing an alternate way of survival, which was, of course, which actually gravitated around a certain Governor Peter Obi, for instance. And what actually happens is that while people were busy demonstrating their discontent, their frustrations against misrule, there was also another side of the coin. There was the fact that if you look at what happened, democracy from 1999, the people of the Southeast, particularly of Igbo extraction, had fully supported President Obasanjo, who was from the Southwest. And when power shifted to the North, PDP also had the Southeast as their mainstay. We supported Yar'Adua. And if you came back to the South again, of course, the Southeast, the Igbos, gave maximum support to Goodluck Jonathan. And Buhari also came. So naturally, when power was going to come back again to the South, it was clearly the turn of the Southeast from all measures and ramifications, from all prisons and prisons from which anybody could look at it, it was the turn of the Southeast. It was the turn of an Igbo man to be president. And that brings us to brings Obi to the contest again. Not only that he was from an Igbo extraction, but he was preaching certain ideology that hovered around frugality and competencies around leadership. And because leadership calls for simplicity and pure truth if you are going to serve the people. And such teachings resonated with the greater part of this country. And of course, the Southeast was the epicenter. So because of that support galvanized under that Obi's umbrella, every other person that got a ticket leveraged on that advantage. And it looked like as if we had something more superior coming under than PDP. So a lot of people voted for people they didn't even know. Today people are in National Assembly. The people voted for them, of course, do not know them. And they've seen it all. So everybody now wants to come back. Because if, for instance, that Honorable Chijioke Edeoga, who we respect a lot, being an experienced party man who had also contributed intellectually to the making of democracy, so deepening of democracy even in Enugu here, and had been lucky enough to be bequeathed with more opportunities by God to serve his people. He understands very clearly what leadership means. And when he saw that Peter Mbah was actually doing exactly what he had wished for, he had no choice than to come back to PDP. And that's my assessment. So anybody who actually intended to do good for the state will naturally come back and support Dr. Peter Mbah in his attempt to recreate an environment where your children can function in sanity and, of course, live and play.
All right, this is Straight Talk on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. You can call us at this point on the phone. Call us on 0911 6993 993. 0911 6993 993. That's the number. You can call us on 0911 6993 993. That's the number. You can call us and you'll be part of the program to contribute and ask Barrister Steve Oruruo some questions. If you have one for him, but if you have a contribution, feel free to send that message. 0911 6993 993. 0911 6993 993. Hello, good morning. All right, your name is what?
So I have been listening to what this gentleman has been saying, and there is only one thing that I agree with him. Yes, Edeoga contested and maybe because of whatever happened, the election, whatever, come and gone, and somebody was voting as the governor. And he started something like magic. So I also believe that Edeoga has no other choice to come and join what man is doing. So I agree with you on that. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Thank you. 0911 6993 993. Straight Talk on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. We are discussing matters arising from Enugu politics, with a special focus, of course, on the performance of the PDP and what's next. 0911 6993 993. Hello, good morning. Do call us back if you can. 0911 6993 993. 0911 6993 993. That's the number you can call us on. And some people are already saying that that the politics of 2027 has started. I think it was just about a week ago that the stakeholders from the Enugu North Senatorial Zone endorsed the governor. Some people would think that that was too early in the day for such an endorsement to happen. How do you respond to that?
Well, I wouldn't know what informed the idea. It's about the zone, but I could, by clairvoyance, I could do it by premonition. I could guess what informed that idea. Like I mentioned today, when you see a leader who had applied rectitude and probity in office, managing the resources of people very carefully, very prudently, very religiously, to the point that we are beginning to see results unprecedented in politics. Most importantly, he has killed the doctrine of sectionalism and clannishness in politics. A situation where he came on the saddle as smartly and intelligently started distributing the commonwealth of people to all and sundry, to all zones, despite what actually happened in the last election, where he didn't get quite a good result from the northern hemisphere, from the northern part of Enugu in terms of zoning. But of course, leadership towers above such sentiments. Leadership does not resort to recriminations and despairing spirit. So he has no chance for that. What he has come to do is to govern everyone and to rewrite the credentials of politicians, rewrite the credentials of leaders, and mitigate the suffering of our people, wherever they are, irrespective of whom they are. So anybody who has seen that from his distance will easily adjudge him as one of the best the Southeast has ever had. And having said that, what stops the people of the North from gathering together to say, despite the flawed attempt at forcing on the people a different choice, today, the candidates who God has elected through the auspices, through the instrumentality of popular votes, by the electorate, is still, disbursing power and circulating deliverables and, of course, the gains of politics to everybody, irrespective of whatever be perhaps what we call misdemeanor of the past.
All right, then. This is Straight Talk on Affair Radio 99.3 FM. You can call us 0911 6993 993, 0911 6993 993. That's the number you can call us on here. Make a contribution, ask a question, or maybe inquire about something. We have here in the studio Barrister Steve Oruruo, Deputy Chairman of the PDP in Enugu State. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name and location? 0911 6993 993, 0911 6993 993. That's the number you can call us on and be part of the program. And I would like to also ask Barrister Steve Oruruo. Many more things are still happening. And let me just bring it here. You mentioned the International Conference Center. You are a lawyer by training. And maybe for the first time in a long while, the annual general conference of the Nigeria Bar Association will be coming to Enugu. And a lot of people are elated about it. But let's take this call before I get to that. Hello, good morning. What's your name and location? Okay, can you speak up a little more? All right. Okay then. Thank you.
What does she have?
Some people don't want to hear themselves.
What does she say?
No, she said she just wants change. She likes the performance of the dog. Some of them speak with fear and trembling. Are you getting feedback? Can you hear anything?
No. Yes, now
Okay.
I am.
All right. This is still Straight Talk on Affair Radio 99.3 FM. Is of course Straight Talk with me, Alex Obodo. My guest is Barrister Steve Oruruo, Deputy Chairman of the PDP. I was asking you about the annual general conference of the Nigeria Bar Association, and they are not the only ones coming to Enugu this year. I think the Surveyors Council are
Yes.
also coming. And when the ICC was being reconstructed, some people said it was a waste of resources. That who are the people who are going to use that edifice, as it were? What kind of events will be organized there? That maybe the resources should have been put to other things. So I'd like to know what your response is now. None that it is guaranteed that two major events are already coming to that venue.
You know, when we speak volumes, when we speak, you know, with flawless attempts at trying to reassert what the truth is as far as leadership is concerned in Enugu, there's always a temptation that you may be signed in the government because of the government distraction. So that burden leaves us with a further challenge to interrogate, you know, the very essence of what we are saying, so that even after government, you should have your name to protect. So, but the inclusion, what we have seen now, coming from the MBA and choosing a Enugu, you know, spontaneously, is a further, you know, testament to the quality of governance going on here. And we had a feel secure. We had a feel that this is the best place to be in terms of trappings, in terms of the quality environment, infrastructural, you know, availability, and standard practices. And come to think of it, we have a governor who is a lawyer. And I would also, you know, jokingly say here that whenever we have a lawyer as a governor in Enugu, he has always finished with panache, has always finished with candor, has always finished with, with scintillating outcomes. And this is what the NBA has come to do, to further buttress the fact that there's a leadership going on in Enugu, and that the Nigerian people have also noticed that government in terms of the trajectory, in terms of the quality. Only a few days ago, the governor just returned from the Commonwealth Economic Summit, where he was only invited with the governor of Lagos. So Enugu is playing within the ecosystem where Lagos is. Lagos had already functioned as a country in terms of the economic relevance and status of Lagos. But today, Enugu is always tagged along Lagos, if not leading Lagos in terms of intellectual property and capacity of the leader who is on the saddle. So that's what it is. We expect more to come. The economic value of that conference center, international conference center, we know it's called international, meaning that even more people will come from the outside world or from another part of the world to come and enjoy what's going on here. So we expect that place to flourish in terms of economic innings for the state. When the governor talked about exponential growth, that's exactly what he has in mind. There will be divergent ways of making, you know, monies for Enugu's prosperity, and that money will be invested here, so that others will come in here, you know, and enjoy the benefits, and also we in from such you know, such system. So it's a win-win situation both for the MBA and for the state.
All right. It's straight talk here on After Radio 99.3, and you can call us as we gradually get to the home stretch of this. 0911 6993 993. 0911 6993 993. That's the number you can call to be on to the program. And I, I will naturally also want to ask, with all the tussle of 2023 and the winning and losing and the regaining of grounds by the PDP, what is the PDP doing to consolidate its performance? By that I refer to the House of Assembly, where the Labour Party had majority at a point. Is there anything being put in place to make sure that if an election happens today, that the PDP will flourish? Hello, good morning. What's up? Can you move away from your radio? Your radio is too loud. Zero nine 0911 Please, when you call us, you move away from your radio. It makes it difficult for us to hear you when you are too close to your radio, because we are hearing ourselves over and over again. 0911 6993 993. 993. We are willing to listen to you. Just don't be close to the radio, or you turn it down entirely so we can hear you. So, what is the PDP going to do differently this time to make sure that it does not walk into an ambush like it did in 2023?
Well, the truth is this. I think that election, talking about 2027, is already won and lost. In the sense that you can see that we understand the basic desires of the masses. We understand the yearnings, the cravings of the electorate. Now we understand, more, more fittingly, the expectations, the weight of leadership. And by the time we address to a very large extent, the demands of the people, we have answered all questions about the re-election. So it doesn't bother the PDP so much. What bothers us at the moment is good leadership, which is in tandem with the expectations of the masses. Having said that, there's no way that we give to Nigerian people are desirable to be governed. They're not asking for too much. They're asking for basic amenities. They're asking for basic interventions that government should deliver on the doorsteps of people. If those things are done, they know it's a departure from what it used to be. And natural thing is to react with their votes. And that will be done. Having said that, the APC also as a party hasn't in any way dislodged this fact. Rather, they've amplified it with their woeful performance at the center. Unfortunately, they are campaigning for the PDP ruthlessly with bad governance. And that has become an enabler to this claim I'm laying here today until that claim is dismantled. And having said that, it is very clear with what we are doing around the Labour Party in terms of people in the Labour Party knowing that it is better to come and join a winning team. Winning this time is not by pyrrhic victories you get through electoral results, but winning by delivering on the doorsteps of people the basic expectations of leadership, the limited level of governance that people had through the instrumentality of their votes demanded from a government. If those things are met, that's nothing that will stop the people from resoundingly voting for their governor. Like I want to say here, that's the least anyone expects going forward. The very least.
Yeah, well, we're gradually getting to the end of the program, but there's one issue. I think one of the promises the governor made, even during the campaign, he said in 180 days, that he will provide water. A lot of people are holding the governor to that promise. The man in Nchatancha, the man in different remote areas, they're all holding the governor to the 180 days promise of having water running in their homes. And it's still a talking point because some people in Enugu don't have access to the water. And I'm not sure there is enough explanation on why that hasn't happened. Is there a way that there are people who are listening, who are still waiting, who believe that the governor has abandoned that promise of giving them water?
Well, there's a sense in which I feel you are partly correct and also partly incorrect. And correct in the sense that the project hasn't been abandoned by any means. All the necessary equipment required to make it work in Enugu in terms of production of water are already there and are fixed and are working. What is an issue now is reticulation and the speed of reticulation, which is being dealt with. Because a lot of course, sabotage is there also as a major thing to stop it. And as much as we try to lay the pipes, you see some people also destroying the pipes. And at the end of the day, what had been done took decades. So they have reviewed that system and are trying to address it. It's still a work in progress. And we do not expect that government, I'm not of course dangling a government that is perfect to the masses. It's a continuous process of rebuilding, the nation and rebuilding the state. So that's of course a talking point. And the government is listening keenly to all the demands of the people. So that water issue is being seriously talked about. And I believe the Commissioner for water resources and other people involved may be in the best position to also be explicit in terms of details about the interventions going on thus far. But like I said, the end is what we have to look out for. And the Bible would say, it is not the beginning thereof. It's not the beginning, rather, but the end thereof. So at the fullness of time, I believe that water issue will be comprehensively and resoundingly resolved.
So your promise here is that the PDP as a party will continue to prevail with good policies that Enugu people will enjoy.
Well, the truth, like I said earlier on, I've said that in several other programs, people are not so enthusiastic. They're not so attached to party politicking. They're interested more in leadership. And within the party politicking, people are interested in characterization. Who is the person that you are giving them? They want to look and review the character. They want to do a reassessment of the personality. Now the people want to get involved in terms of the quality of leadership recruitment process. Apart from the fact that people are worried about, the standards set by INEC and other institutions. I don't have time to talk about the collapse of Nigerian institutions. The democratic institutions in the country have become very suspect, and people also know the truth. Be that as it may, when people organize themselves, come out in their numbers, fight for a particular choice, that choice will stand. So definitely, it is very clear that, like I've mentioned severally, that this leadership has come to stay, and it's people's leadership, and their support is not just for PDP. It's also about the man who is doing what they want to see.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name and location? Stephen, you're welcome. You are welcome. Yeah, go ahead. You have just 1 minute.
Okay. I want to thank the government because doing new things that are not done. Okay, doing new things. I want him to go to area of retirement. The gratuity is preparing to pay. But harmonization, some people are taking 10,000, even 5,000 in their gratuity, and they're going the same market with the people. Let me think of harmonization of pensioners. It has not been done in Enugu State, but it has been done in other states. Let him do it as he's doing new things in Enugu State. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Out of time, I will get the pensions board authorities to come and respond on specific issues about pension, because it's quite intricate in that. And I have to thank you so much for coming. Barrister Steve Oruruo, the Deputy Chairman of the PDP here in Enugu State. Thank you.
Thank you. I call on the people to keep on giving unwavering, unmitigated, unalloyed support to the government so that the good work will continue.
All right. And that's straight talk for this morning. Until tomorrow, make sure you take care of yourselves and each other. My name is Alex Obodo. Good morning.
Modest. At least modest now.
Yeah. Good.